What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm Warren Thompson, and yesterday we were hit with some insane news. News that is forever going to change DC as we know it. The news that Henry Cavill is officially done as Superman. Yesterday on Instagram, Henry Cavill announced that he met with James Gunn and Peter Safran and Dceu, and he is done as Superman. Not because he wanted to be done as Superman, but because James Gunn and Peter Safran have other plans for the DCU, including a new Superman movie that is actually going to be revealed soon, according to James Gunn, but will not involve Henry Cavill. And of course, we're going to be talking about that in this video and talking about the entire future of DC. What does this mean now that Henry Cavill is out? Is Jason Momoa safe? Is Gal Gadot safe? Who is staying? Who is leaving? Heck, we don't even know if The Rock is safe as Black Adam right now in the DCU. One thing is very clear. James Gunn and Peter Safran have a vision, and it seems like they have decided what is best for the DCU moving forward, and nothing's really going to get in their way, including someone as iconic as Henry Cavill Superman, who the fans truly do love and feel like he was done kind of dirty with this. But what is really happening over at DC right now? Like I mentioned, it's very clear right now that James Gunn and Peter Safran have an idea, a vision of what the DCU should be. And they have created a plan for their movies coming up, their TV shows coming up, their games coming up, because James Gunn said it's all connecting, even video games. Some of the video games are going to connect. And James Gunn and Peter Safran recently took a little retreat. They spent some time over in Colorado, simply doing nothing but writing what they call the DC Bible. Basically, what they did was come up with how everything is going to connect in their universe. And actually, they are submitting all of their plans to Warner Brothers Discovery very, very soon. And considering the fact that Henry Cavill met with James Gunn and Peter Safran and that was the end of it, it looks like they have everything complete. It looks like they have their full vision ready to go. So last night, after Henry Cavill posted his statement on Instagram, James Gunn took to Twitter and announced a couple of things himself. Now, real quick, if you didn't hear about Henry Cavill last night or you didn't read the post, this is what it says. I have just had a meeting with James Gunn and Peter Safran, and it's sad news, everyone. I will, after all, not be returning as Superman. After being told by the studio to announce my return back in October, prior to their hire, this news isn't the easiest, but that's life. The changing of the guard is something that happens. I respect that. James and Peter have a universe to build. I wish them and all involved with the new universe the best of luck and the happiest of fortunes. For those who have been on my side through the years, we can mourn for a bit, but then we must remember Superman is still around, everything he stands for still exists, and the examples he sets for us are still there. My turn to wear the cape has passed, but what Superman stands for never will. It's been a fun ride with you all, onwards and upwards. It's extremely sad, it really is, but Henry Cavill responded to this perfectly, I think, with true class. But besides Henry Cavill no longer being Superman, here's what stands out to me in what he said, and I think it's pretty important. He says that James and Peter have a universe to build. Then he says, I wish them and all involved with the new universe the best of luck. This pretty much means that James Gunn and Peter Safran are kind of resetting everything. We thought that it might be sort of a soft reboot, but now that Henry Cavill is out as Superman, it's looking like it's going to be an extremely hard reboot. And a report came out by The Hollywood Reporter stating that Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman 3 has been scrapped. And Patty Jenkins came out and said thank you for all the time and all the love that we've given Wonder Woman in her movies. So it's looking like Gal Gadot is done as well. James Gunn and Peter Safran have a completely new DC slate ready to go that they're going to reveal to us relatively soon. And it looks like it's not going to involve any of the old characters. So for those who were hoping that Zack Snyder's Justice League would be kind of given a redemption arc here, it doesn't look like it at all. In fact, I'm pretty sure one of James Gunn's and Peter Safran's priorities was to kind of move away from that. After the news that Henry Cavill was done as Superman was announced yesterday, this is what James Gunn said on Twitter. Peter and I have a DC slate ready to go, which we couldn't be more over the moon about. We'll be able to share some exciting information about our first projects at the beginning of the new year. Among those on the slate is Superman. In the initial stages, our story will be focusing on an earlier part of Superman's life, so the character will not be played by Henry Cavill. But we just had a great meeting with Henry and we're big fans, and we talked about a number of exciting possibilities to work together in the future. This is big news right here, and I'll come back to this in just a second. Somebody asked James Gunn about the Superman movie, stating that it's being a part of the slate, so they assume it's a movie, in which James Gunn replied yes, so this new Superman project is going to be a movie. He then stated that he is writing the script for the new Superman movie and has been for a while, but he doesn't know who is directing it yet. He also mentioned something kind of exciting. One user asked him if Ben Affleck could direct, and he replied with, "Met with Ben yesterday precisely because he wants to direct, and we want him to direct. We just have to find the right project." That implies that Ben Affleck's Batman is most likely done as well. However, what James Gunn said is very interesting when he said they had a great meeting with Henry and they're big fans, and they talked about a number of exciting possibilities to work together in the future. So as I mentioned, James Gunn clearly has a very clear path that he wants to take the DCU down. And considering the fact that they're doing a new Superman movie that's going to focus on the earlier parts of Superman's life, as in when he is younger, that implies that the DCU really is resetting, and they're starting over, and they're going to start when these characters are younger. But that doesn't mean that when these characters eventually grow up, we could see older versions of them played by some of the original actors. Perhaps there's a Superman movie that's set in the future after this one that's going to come out, and Henry Cavill could return to play Superman. It kind of sounds like that is one of the possibilities that James Gunn is talking about, of ways to work together in the future with Henry Cavill. Plus, not to mention, it does seem like DC might explore the multiverse. And if they start from scratch and set it up the right way, it can be done in a very, very excellent way. And that opens it up for all of these original characters to return. Gal Gadot, Ben Affleck, Jason Momoa, and of course, Henry Cavill. Now, Aquaman 2 is still set to come out, and so is Shazam 2. However, their futures are kind of unknown right now. In fact, it looks like and is very, very hinted that Jason Momoa might actually be playing Lobo. In fact, James Gunn himself kind of hinted at this, and Jason Momoa honestly would make a perfect Lobo. And that probably means that he is done as Aquaman as well. So we no longer have Henry Cavill as Superman, Gal Gadot looks like she is done as Wonder Woman, and Jason Momoa might be done as Aquaman, and I don't think Ben Affleck is coming back as Batman. And given everything that has happened to Ezra Miller, I'm pretty sure Ezra's done as well. So it truly does seem like they are scrapping the entire old DC universe, and they're going to be completely starting a new one. And the question is this good or bad? Fans are reacting in very, very different ways to this news. Some really don't like James Gunn right now because they loved Henry Cavill as Superman. Some don't like him because they wanted the Snyderverse restored, but some actually see that this could be a very, very good thing. And I personally think that it could be a very, very good thing. I am sad to see all of these old characters go, and the actors that played them, I think they were all fantastic. However, DC has been in a rut, and their plan has been all over the place. They've been messy, and what they really need is some true direction. And it seems like that's what James Gunn and Peter Safran have. It seems like they know what the DCU needs, and they're really not going to let anything get in the way of them making it great, including getting rid of some very beloved actors and characters. But they have a vision, and they're going for it, and I'm really excited to see what happens. And right now, I think this is kind of make or break for the DCU. If James Gunn and Peter Safran don't pull this off, and DC doesn't bounce back, I think a lot of people are probably going to be done with DC. Of course, there will always be fans, and there's always going to be another chance. But right now, people are even petitioning for Warner Brothers to keep Henry Cavill and fire James Gunn. So fans are really divided right now. And I think if this fails, it's going to be really, really bad for DC. But Peter Safran and James Gunn both have really good track records when it comes to movies. James Gunn has been very successful with the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, directing Guardians of the Galaxy 1 through 3 and the Christmas holiday special. And of course, he brought us the Suicide Squad, the newer one, and the Peacemaker series, both of which were fantastic. Peter Safran has also worked on some great DC projects and other movie projects as well that have been really good. And they're both fans. They're both fans of DC, so they don't want anything to screw up. They don't want to ruin the DCU. They want to restore it. They want to revive it. They want to make DC great. And they have a plan. They have their full slate planned out, which means they most likely are doing phases. Now, The Rock has teased that Black Adam was the first movie of phase 1. However, The Rock also said Henry Cavill was back and some other things, and Peter Safran and James Gunn came in and basically negated what he said. He said all of those things before they were put in charge. So unfortunately, we don't really know if they're going to be doing doing phases, but since James Gunn used the word slate, it does seem like they are, which is good because we need that structure for DC. That is one thing that DC has lacked. Structure and a clear direction of where they're going to go. Instead of being all over the place like we were before, everybody was pretty confused about what was really happening with DC and the DCEU before. But it seems like James and Peter have a very clear vision of what they're going to be going for. So hopefully this is a brand new start for DC. Hopefully fans can give these new actors and characters a chance, and hopefully the franchise is about to make a very, very good comeback. But hey, let us know what you think about this in the comments down below. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you looking forward to the future? Let us know all your thoughts down below. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to stay up to date with all DC news. For live updates, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.